Hope so. All right, Tom. We haven't done. We still don't have papers and we still don't have a jingle, but we haven't done a news from around the realm in quite some time.
True.
Shame on us. Shame.
Shame.
Yeah, it's ding, ding, ding. All right, so Tone, in terms of news from around the realm, Comic-Con was obviously this past weekend. And there's always a lot of great stuff.
I feel like I almost missed that whole bus because
you were all in the Olympics.
I was on a binger in the Olympics, and all of a sudden I started seeing news come on. I'm like, what is this about?
What's ATAL? Yeah, Hall H. Yeah. So a lot of great stuff out of Comic-Con. The first thing I wanted to touch on briefly, we don't have a lot of information, but I tell you what, dude, the one thing, the sequel I was not expecting ever. I always thought the first one that we saw this year was kind of a niche thing and a one-off and like, hey, cool, we did it and we're done with it and we'll move on from it. No, Tom, we are going. Johnny, America's Sweetheart, is coming back for another In a Violent Nature. A sequel has been announced. IFC Films and Shudder, AMC's streaming services for horror, thriller, and supernatural, revealed that a sequel of the critically acclaimed slasher In a Violent Nature is in early stages of development. This was announced at the Bold Voice of Contemporary Horror panel at Comic-Con. And I don't know if you saw who was there, but there was a nice group of people at that panel.
Was Sam there?
Who?
I think I saw Sam and Bruce at one point.
I don't know if they were on stage for that panel, but there was some pretty cool people that were there. Like I know there's some people involved with In a Violent Nature that were there. David Dashelman from the Late Night with the Devil. Okay. He was there doing an interview. So I mean, they had a pretty cool panel. I hope that shows up online. I'd love to watch that. Right. Producer Peter Kuplowski, who was produced In a Violent Nature, he said this was originally conceived as a meta sequel within a fictional slasher series. So
a fictional one?
So we were always imagining mayhem beyond the scope of the original film. That we now have the opportunity to continue following Johnny on his restless walk has us feeling incredibly grateful to our incredible partners at IFC Films and Shudder, who believed in Chris's vision from day one. We are thrilled to return for a new chapter and are excited to deploy Johnny as a conduit to further experiments within this genre. I mean, like I said, man, like I know this movie it's indifferent amongst a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it is a risk. It was a risky movie, but it was also something incredibly unique that we haven't seen before, and that was this hybrid of like art house and horror, where you're basically just following Johnny, the slasher killer, through the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're with him the whole way. You don't know anything that's going on outside of Johnny's life. Unless he stumbles across some fucking poor bastard he's about to destroy in a fucking horrific way. Mm-hmm. But no, I think this is cool, man. Now, like, how much more could they do with Johnny? I mean, if it's just more of the same, him walking through the woods and dispatching of people in gnarly ways, I mean, I'm okay with this.
I'm open to it. I really enjoyed the first one.
I mean, and I did not expect this announcement. I didn't, but I just know this movie was well received. Mm-hmm. And it drew a lot of like buzz. I mean, I think this movie also benefited from the fact that 2024 has been a monumental year for horror. Mm-hmm. I mean, this might be the best year of horror films we've had in 2 or 3 decades, honestly.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, from start of the year to the end of the year, we just have banger after banger after banger, and they're all not just your typical side. There's so much diversity throughout the horror genre that they're touching on and trying new things and unique things, and it's just been fucking awesome as a horror fan.
Been great.
So really excited to see that Johnny, America's Sweetheart, will definitely get a sequel in a Violent Nature Part 2. So we'll be looking forward to seeing that. All right. That was like one of the early things that they announced at Comic-Con. But Tone, there was a massive MCU-related announcement.
Yeah.
The first one being Kevin Feige announced that Joe and Anthony Russo will return to direct 2 new movies, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Disney going back to the well. Going back and bringing back the dudes that they know, hey, these guys can deliver hits. Mm-hmm. They've made some of the biggest movies in entertainment history. Mm-hmm. They're getting paid $80 million to direct 2 films. Disney's like, dude, we trust you. Make it happen.
Right.
So it's wild to think, okay, so they're going back to Anthony and Joe Russo, and they're bringing them back, and they're paying them a shit ton of money. The Russo brothers are back. But that's not it, Tone.
No.
The Russo brothers hopped up on stage, and this is what they had to announce.
Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
The pop. And the pop he gets.
The pop was large.
New mask. Same task.
New mask, same task. Robert Downey Jr. announced as coming back to the MCU to take on the role of Victor Von Doom. Dr. Doom himself. They're going back. Dude, not only did they get the Russo brothers, they went back to the guy who started it all and tapped into him to be the next big bad in the Avengers movies. What the living fuck, Tone? Help me process this. What is going on?
I'm still trying to process, if you want the truth. I don't. Now I do know that there is a version of Doom out there that I believe Stark became, and sometimes in comics you see, folks like that pick up the mantle of other characters and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all this multiversal work and Secret Wars and how Secret Wars builds and how it was in the comics, there is a conversation here where this can make sense. I have seen a lot of the spectrum of, back and forth on it. A lot of people seem excited.
Yeah.
Some people are like, and other people's are like, this is fucking lazy. And I kind of lean mid to lazy.
Yeah.
But I say that. But I also kind of wonder if this is maybe a bit of a smoke and mirrors. Now, you did say, hey,
I'll get into those numbers, but that'll be the counter, so to speak.
Because I'm like, are they really going to bring, or you're like, are they really going to bring blah, 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 him back money and then have him be like, not the guy? I'm like, I guess maybe not. Like, I don't know. So it's definitely puzzling to go this route because like this is the character everybody's been waiting on to have cast. If you're going to try now, if it needs to be a version of Stark, unless maybe he doesn't really, it's not really his face most of the time because Doom's wearing a mask. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on there's a lot of variables what I'm trying to get at. So I'm trying to make it all make sense in my head. And I want to believe that they got a plan and it's going to work, but bringing back a character that's played a character, it's not like it's not been done before.
All right.
But those were usually with other franchises too, or I guess other, makers of film. So this is definitely a little questionable, I guess. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people out there I feel like that could have played a great Doom. Cillian Murphy, maybe one.
Ooh.
I don't know, a Skarsgård. Any, you know what I'm saying? Like
literally a lot of people.
Literally anybody. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I was very surprised by that.
So the reason that the Russo brothers agreed to this, other than the $80 million, is that they said this is the biggest story that Marvel Comics has ever told, and that's the reason they first fell in love with comics in the first place was the Doom story. And so that's what kind of like their motivation is. But again, you're bringing in $80 million. I'm going to sign on and direct your fucking movies. I don't care. But here's the thing. So according to Variety, they Disney and Marvel agreed to pay the Russo brothers $80 million to direct both Avengers. But now here's the thing. Robert Downey Jr. is said to be getting significantly more than that alleged figure. More than $80 million. Now keep in mind, he made $75 million alone for Endgame. They paid him $75 million for Endgame. Tone, I like the idea of the bait and switch. but you don't pay somebody north of $80 million to show up for a bait and switch and move them out of there, or have somebody else say, I mean, dude, this man, that is just that's a lot of money, and I mean, it's just like it's really easy to look at it and be like, I mean, I looked at that at first, honestly, it was like, man, Disney must be desperate as fuck to like get some of these bigger names back into the MCU. Not to say that like the other characters haven't done well. Like there's characters I feel like Thor is still awesome, Doctor Strange is still awesome, Spider-Man's still awesome, but Robert Downey Jr. is the reason the MCU is where it's at, arguably. I mean, had Iron Man not worked, it could have gone the same way the Mummy did with Tom Cruise. That didn't work, and that whole monster universe died.
He's probably Earth 616 reality's anchor.
So I mean, it's just it's wild to think that. And plus, like, I mean, like, and some of these things, like the numbers involved in with this, like the Russo Brothers, they're getting paid $80 million for this, but it does have performance escalators that kick in at the $750 million and $1 billion thresholds in terms of like box office take. So I mean, that just starts there. But like Downey Jr., listen to these perks to be included with his package deal: private jet travel, dedicated security, and a whole trailer encampment. An encampment during filming entirely for himself.
That's a lot of diva bullshit.
That's a lot of shit for a dude to like just show up and not be a bit like he's in this.
Yeah.
This is your big bad. No fucking way around it. This is your big bad. And I feel like, dude, the only way you can make it work with him, and yeah, he wears a mask, but you don't bring in Robert Downey Jr. with his acting ability and what he's capable of in terms of emotions to keep it behind a mask.
Yeah.
He's going to have that shit off. And so, I mean, you're going to see him, fans are going to see him like, that's Tony Stark. So I think you're right. I think this has to be something to do with the Tony Stark variant that becomes Dr. Doom, and that's got to be the way they're doing it. I just can't see them going, okay, let's just bring back Robert Downey Jr. and give him a bad guy role. It seems weird. It seems lazy, and it seems like a fucking desperate move on Disney and Marvel's behalf to kind of right the ship and get people fucking pumped again. It's just a really bizarre situation.
A lot to take in. Lainey, welcome to a live version of B&B. It's good to see you. We also got some other great comments. Jay Hill, what do you say?
I like to think that one right there.
Yeah.
I like to think they don't have a plan as crazy. They have to have a great story in mind.
Right. Yep. He's already acting like Tony Stark. Josie, I felt the same way as well too. Brian, $80 million. That means $40 million of each movie for just their salary.
Just their salary.
Damn right. Yeah. And so
which is peanuts if it makes peanuts. It's peanuts compared to if a movie makes over $1 billion. I mean, $40 million is.
He makes more penis.
That's whatever. Jay Hill said, heard one storyline where Tony and Victor were college roommates instead of Reed Richards, and Victor was jealous of Tony being given everything, so he takes Tony's face and brainwashes Tony to not remember. Could end up Iron versus Doom, same face.
So he's going to take his face?
Oh.
Okay, I will see. There's also, like, because when they were in, like, Sokovia, like, even the Doombot, even his, like, Legion, like, felt very, like, Doombot-ish. Like, it looked like Latveria. We even think in Moon Knight, it looked like they were in Latveria at one point as well, too. So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of ways they could really do this, I suppose. But, I mean, Victor Von Doom is not the face of Tony Stark. But if it's something like that, you know, who knows? I don't know. Like, again, it's the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah, it's really weird. And like I said, we'll know more, obviously. And there's a theory going around that we're going to see Victor Von Doom before Avengers Doomsday. There's a lot of speculation that he possibly could show up in the final or Fantastic Four movie.
He has to.
So I mean, that's what it would kind of introduce that character. But Avengers Doomsday will begin filming in London in the second quarter of next year. It's set to hit theaters in May of 2026, barring any kind of like delays or anything like that, while Secret Wars will follow a year later. So it's one of those movies where they'll film it all back to back and then just kind of get it out there. Also saw, Jay Hill said, also saw a video showing how even though they were trying to set up Kang, if they play it right, it actually sets up a great storyline for Doom.
It does. You know, it sucks that Majors had to be a piece of shit because I really liked a lot where Kane was going. Now, I'm not saying like the story that was getting him there maybe was the greatest. I like Quantumania more than most folks, but you know, I mean, you could make a case that his story did kind of end there.
Yeah,
you know, in the multiverse, so you could, I suppose, but you know, at the end of the day, like when it comes to Secret Wars, a big purveyor of that or had a hand in it was, you know, Doom as well too. So,
hey, speaking of Jonathan Majors, he had comments.
Did he? Was it why he was carrying around his little cup?
So Jonathan Majors told TMZ that he is heartbroken over the news that Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom will be the new villain of the next 2 Avengers movies, effectively replacing Majors' Kang the Conqueror. When he was asked by TMZ, Majors said, "Yes, I'm heartbroken, of course. I love Kang. Dr. Doom is wicked, though." And they asked him, would Majors want to return to the MCU as Kang?
I want that money.
Hell yeah, he said. Hell yeah, I love him. I love Kang. If that's what the fans want and that's what Marvel wants, then let's roll. Hell yeah. So, I mean, he didn't come out and say fuck Disney because who's going to say fuck Disney when Disney got that Disney money? But, yeah, man, like it was interesting to get his thoughts. Kind of a reserved response. I was, wasn't sure if he was going to be, like, super happy about this. But
weird that they went right to him.
Yeah, hey, what do you think about this? You're already out, but here's who they're replacing you with. No, man, I do think there's a lot of room for speculation here. I do think there's a lot of different ways they could go with this. I just hope it's not just something to do just to get a familiar face, a big familiar face in there, and just to appease audiences and keep people's interest going.
It just feels like that.
It does feel like that. So I mean, I'm kind of hoping that they do have some kind of unique, clever way to make this character.
I'm sure they do.
Understandable. So Jay Hill says we're going to see Doom show up at the Council of Kangs and kill them all. Apparently, a similar story Doom did against the Beyonders. So if they do that, do they get Jonathan Majors back for a cameo? And we're gonna kill y'all a bunch of you guys.
They probably hold the rights to a CG lookalike.
They probably do,
dude.
Didn't John Boyega say fuck Disney? And then I'm pretty sure, John Boyega is done with Disney.
Yeah,
I do remember for a while that he was like, I ain't doing that shit again. Even though I think Daisy Ridley's already signed up back for a new Star Wars movie, so she caved pretty quick.
Yeah, well, you end a couple zeros at the end of the check
like
there.
I said, man, you're like John Boyega says fuck Disney right now, but they show up with a couple zeros, be like, oh, what I meant to say was maybe someday Disney.
Yeah,
maybe
the story's good. Which, don't get me wrong, he got fucked in that sequel trilogy.
He did. No, I mean, he got screwed over. He got put on the back burner. His character lost all relevance, and just like
one of the biggest tragedies out of that series was his Finn storyline after Force Awakens. Was
it seriously became a punchline almost. Like his character was comic relief at certain points. I was like, this is a disaster. Like, how can you do this to this character?
Yeah.
All right, Tom, we're going to stick with Marvel.
Yeah.
This past weekend, or was it the 2 weekends ago?
So we're going, I think we got a couple more days yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Frog Bucket.
Is that where we get him, Frog Bucket? We get him from there, Mr.
Deleted.
Rupert? You loser. Get a life and a job.
Oh, my God.
These fucking
He gone.
See ya.
He gone.
See ya. Good luck fucking that couch.
So Marvel Rivals is an upcoming hero shooter developed and published by NetEase Games in collaboration with Marvel Games. The game is set to release on Windows, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. The game will be free to play with a current lineup of 23 characters from Marvel Comics. You were able to get into the early access beta, try it out, get your hands on it. I didn't get a fucking code. They were like, dude, fuck you. We're going to let Tone play it. You got to play it, Tone. What now? Like, look, man. I feel like the market is oversaturated with hero shooters right now. So anytime I hear about one, I'm just like, can I just get a SOCOM?
And kind of, I'm
never going to happen.
I get it.
I get it. Hero shooters are where it's at. People, kids love them. But this one's Marvel Rivals. And you and I saw the trailer first for this, and we were just like, oh, this looks okay. And then we saw another trailer, like, oh, it actually looks kind of good.
Yeah, the second one was like, oh, okay.
Okay, no, I want to play it. It's free to play, but you got into it, Tone. Initial impressions. Did you come away impressed?
Yeah, actually, I've been having a good time with it. I was an early guy for Overwatch as well too. I was in like alphas and betas for that, and I got hooked right away. And I never played Overwatch 2, but I played a fuck ton of Overwatch. I loved that game.
Yeah.
for all that it was worth. And then I found Paladins. I really love Paladins.
Yep.
I think I liked that just a little bit better. And then I would play Overwatch and be like, man, I don't know, I love Overwatch. I like the hero games because they're easy breezy to play. Because sometimes you'll get in there and you'll push some shit in, and there's other times you're gonna get in there, you yo shit pushed in. But what makes this different is that this is full on licensed, actual fucking Marvel characters, and a good variety too.
Yeah,
like
23 of them, and like variety in the gameplay.
Well, yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. Like the characters variety, and then the gameplay variety is way different. Like from a 2-star to a 3-star is almost sometimes like.
What do you mean 2-star?
So like difficult, like
how hard they are to play.
How hard they are to play.
Okay.
I wanted to play Venom right away, or like Hulk, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna be Venom. Well, at first I was like, this is fucking great. I'm a symbiote doing stuff, and then I started getting fucking 2-shotted by like Hela, and I'm like, well, fuck this. So I switched over to Iron Man, who I'm not normally an Iron Man guy. I just like, well, get some flight, and I always think in all games, if you've got verticality, you've got a little bit of an edge. That changed everything real fast. That was just raining bombs on stuff as well too. But no, the game is really neat too because you know how like in Overwatch, if you get 1 or 2 characters, they shows, oh, you need a support, you need a tank.
Yeah,
this goes beyond that. If you select like Doctor Strange, Banner, aka Hulk, and like who's the other fucking character? Why am I drawing a complete blank? Iron Man, they're like Illuminati, so they get like a fucking bonus. So when one character like does a special move, there's like a special bonus the entire team gets over it. So if you build your team with actual team ups like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or something, you're getting like bonuses and stuff like that to certain like healing tactics or I'm telling you, I was like, okay, this is neat. So being that it's free to play for one is very enticing too, because it's very like, okay, well, you don't have to spend money. So it's like Paladins, you want to spend money on a suit or something, fine. Or you grind it out. The dailies, the weeklies, the challenges are all pretty fair.
Yeah. Nothing like
nothing
super
too crazy.
grindy.
I mean, you got to grind a lot for like some of the weekly because a lot of XP. But I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. And if anything, it really looks good.
It looks good in motion.
I think it looks
smooth.
fucking. I think so. I think.
Really?
I think because it's a hard beta here. Like, there's a couple of things I've seen, like some screen, whatever. But like, no, man, it's if you like Overwatch or Paladins, if you do like the hero shooters, this has got Marvel on it, and that already is going to draw
fully
people.
licensed. You got all the like authentic characters and shit.
And you're not paying like Overwatch 2 was they wanted you to give that $60 out. Paladins you can play for free and have a blast for free. And I'm a huge fan of that. And I tell you all day, play Paladins if you want. But this being free and the way the synergies work and it shows you, man, I tell you, I mean, it's literally the same shit. You're literally taking a payload, you're doing this or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all the same shit.
It's interesting.
But it's different when you're playing as fucking Iron Man or Spider-Man. I mean, there's literally a ton of fucking characters.
Different ways to play them and shit.
Yeah. And like I said, you synergize with some of the stuff. Like, there were a couple of groups I was in when I chose, like, Iron Man, and they did, like, the Banner and the Doctor Strange thing. And I was just like, sometimes you might get, you start seeing that health go away. And you're like, oh, fuck. Well, the synergy would come on, pop on, all of a sudden, whoop. I'm like, oh, shit. This is nice. So, yeah, man, this is going to be something, especially that's free to play, and it's a pickup game that you can just kind of pick. I play it for an hour, and I felt like I played 8 hours of a game. This will be a game I'll be playing for sure. Just for
awesome.
just for fucking shits and gigs.
Brian's got a bold statement. He says Concord is going to eat this game's lunch. Dead on arrival.
I mean, probably true.
My understanding is Concord was like dead on arrival with its beta, but I mean, then again, I mean, there was like 200 people or some shit playing on PC. I was like, God damn, really? But like what I had read from the beta, like from the previews of Concord, like, people said it played really good.
Yeah.
When I watched the gameplay, it looked like Destiny. It looked like some of the controls looked like Destiny, and I was like, oh man, that actually looks kind of good. So I haven't pre-ordered that yet. It's hard for me to sit there and justify Concord simply because it is so fucking close to Star Wars Outlaws and Astrobot. It's way too close to those games right now to justify it. So I mean, that's why I like Marvel Rivals. I'll get into it free to play, but dropping $40 when I have $120 worth of games coming out 2 weeks later, super hard to convince me to buy that.
Times are tough right now for a lot of people. So while Concord might end up being the better game, but you still got to fish out $40 for it.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to say, hey, my kid wants to play Iron Man, or I want to, roll around as Stark one night, or even hell, it was a badass. I don't know what the fuck she was doing besides two-shotting people. You know what I mean? But
does she look like Kate?
No, unfortunately. Yeah. I know I played Mantis at one point because I was watching this Mantis player just fuck up an entire team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like wild as fuck. Like it's a lot of like
that's awesome. Mantis
crazy
is in this game.
Yeah, and some of these characters got some low health, but like with her, like she's got like these crazy status effects. She actually I think does like a swap, like where you take over as like the other team's character, but can still attack them and weird shit. Like
wow,
I was fucking around with her for a minute. I'm like, God damn, like this is wild. So it just felt. For a hero shooter, it felt very fresh because you'd think you jump in something like this. I'm playing Overwatch. Did not feel like Overwatch to me, except for the setup. Yeah.
Brian says, yeah, jokes aside, Concord is sadly not looking good. Too bad the devs were saying all the right things with no battle pass and stuff. I mean, I feel like it's one of those games that Sony is trying to push out in the same vein as like Helldivers. Like, look, buy this for $40 and you get access to everything that comes out afterwards, in terms of like the modes and the characters and all this shit. And obviously, like Helldivers has like their little war bond things, but they never go away. I don't mind battle passes. It's. I understand people are indifferent on it, but in terms of like the gameplay, I thought Concord looked really good.
Yeah,
I thought it looked fun. All the characters have different abilities. I'm just at that point, man, where I'm so fucking just overloaded with fucking hero shooters. It's just like. Nobody can like I used to just love it when there was like one big game that everyone would play, and that's what everybody would play. But when you have so many, it's hard to sit there. You like Marvel Rivals, and I could play Concord, be like, well, I like Concord, but you're not gonna be like, oh, I've got this game, I'm not gonna buy Concord. And other people are gonna be like, I'm not buying Concord. So it's hard. That's why that free to play thing. I'm really surprised, honestly, that they didn't go to free to play for Concord. I'm really surprised they didn't go that route. I mean, $40 isn't a tall, or I mean, it's a nice budget price, I guess. And if the game is fun, that's great. But I mean, man, what a shit time to come out. I wish they had a different window because you're going up against some of the big hitters of the fall. And man, that's a lot, man. Brian says, I haven't played any other hero shooters, so I wanted to get into Concord, but if it's going to fail, then there's no point. I mean, I don't want it to fail. They're a fucking great crew. I know the one guy, his name escapes me. He was over at Bungie. He'd worked a lot on Destiny. He's one of the main guys working on this game. And you can kind of see, again, you can see the Destiny comparisons in there. But I think bad timing for that, and it's an oversaturated market with hero shooters, especially when so many of them, like you said, are free to play.
Yeah. Like I this isn't trying to pretend to be anything different. It's just that, hey, you've got licensed character that you recognize, and I was looking through the store, like some of the variant outfits and stuff. Like I said, this game looks fucking gorgeous. Like it really looks cool. Like compared to like an Overwatch, I think Paladins has even a more unique like graphic design. I like Overwatch's look, but it's very like simplistic and not a lot of detail.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas I feel Paladins got that extra like bit of detail.
Yep.
So like characters have like more belt loops.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Like this had like some of the variants I was looking at. I was like, God damn, like this is really fucking
really
cool.
good,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's. Think of the pantheon of Marvel characters that could always add to this as well too. And again, being like
was Blade one of the 23?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
No.
I don't care how much they charge. I don't care how much they charge for that DLC.
Right.
I'll fucking buy that.
And I know if you roll with Iron Man, you can fuck up some stuff from the heavens because Jesus Christ, was I just raining on people.
That's rad. You guys see new release of 7 Days to Die for console and eventual full crossplay. I did see the new release for 7 Days to Die. I watched the gameplay video. I mean, it looks a little rough, but it looked like a cool concept. I tell you, the trailer I just watched today, it looked really good. Was Killing Floor 3. I don't know if you're familiar with the Killing Floor games.
Yeah.
The new trailer
That's like the weird like
a zombie, but there's also like aliens and shit, and that comes out in 2025. And they dropped a gameplay trailer today, and that looked really fucking cool.
I know people love that 7 Days to Die. I'd rather.
There's a lot of people that love that game.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather 7 days go fuck myself than play that shit, but I get it.
I need Sons of the Forest for console. I never played The Forest. Is that a sequel
It's a sequel to The Forest.
The Forest? Okay.
Yeah.
I played The Forest for a little bit, but I couldn't really get into that. But that was a good dungeons like that.
Oh
one.
yeah, he heard you. Oh,
I heard he played it for he played it for 10 hours, and that was it.
Yeah, but he also in that 10 hours got farther than everybody because everybody played it for 3 hours. So and he's like, well, I'm done.
Yep, I'm out of here.
See ya. Back to Ark.
But no, that's good to hear, man. No, do I need to look?
No, you don't. You're a psychopath.
Don't. Please don't.
Children don't even know your first name.
But no, that's cool, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope. When does it? Does that have a window?
I don't.
I want to say it's this year.
I've played more of this in the last couple weeks than I have Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Are
Which, by the way,
done with that yet?
Shout out. I want to give a shout out to my man Brian for platinum.
Did he platinum?
Platinum fucking Rebirth, which is
He's
a
insane,
bitch.
He's insane.
Which is a bitch. I had read his post on it. He was up to like 5 a.m. in the morning and finished finally that battle again on hard mode.
What?
And like it's a string of battles, I think, or it's a string, right? I don't know. I just know that like that game's yeah, I know.
Took a piece
I know,
of my
man.
soul.
Like that's pretty wild, bro. Like kudos to you. Like I'm still enjoying the game when I can play it. I'm just love being in this version of Final Fantasy VII. I just take in the sights constantly when I'm playing it, and it's just kind of breezy and chill for me. But I'm not a platinum guy by nature because I don't want to rip my dick off. But kudos to you. I saw
Brian
that.
is a respected trophy hunter around these parts, so I admire the fact that the guy can go out there and just fucking knock those platinums out, man.
Fuck that.
That's fucking dope. All right, Tom, last bit of news we wanted to touch on, something I know you're probably very excited about. We're getting a new Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Yes, we are. I didn't expect that this soon, but here we are. I mean, he basically said that he can't do much more of like the Clerks. He can't do Mallrats because of Miramax, I think, or something like that. So there's character rights and different rights and stuff in the mess of that stuff, and they kind of close the chapter on Clerks.
Sure.
But as we saw with Deadpool and Wolverine, people never get sick of dick and fart jokes. So Jay and Silent Bob are his dynamic duo, so we can always get more of them. So
yeah, he had kind of a very busy Comic-Con. Not only did he talk about announcing a Jay and Silent Bob, which it's called Jay and Silent Bob Store Wars.
Store Wars.
A little nod to Secret Wars,
Or Star Wars.
Or Star Wars. It could be a lot of things. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
But always some humor comes to it. But he also released a trailer for his new movie, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. So Kevin Smith is keeping busy. Which is always a good thing.
Always a good
thing. So, Tone, let's actually